Okay, so welcome to this video where we're going to be looking at the anatomy of a script and how to use the advanced hypnosis scripts that are available through our programs. So what we're going to look at is the full anatomy of an advanced script, a basic approach to using the scripts, a intermediate approach, if you're ready for that, and then the full advanced approach to using these scripts, and also look at some tips on using the scripts towards the end there. So let's kind of look at the prioritization of the ingredients within a script. So this is in most of our advanced scripts. Now, they don't always follow the complete structure. There's a few that I've sort of deviated over the years from the structure, but this is kind of like the most common structure you'll find in the advanced hypnosis scripts. There's always a front page, and that is just for marketing purposes. Then it starts with the pre-induction. The pre-induction is where you have a conversation with your client. Now, the way to use that is you want to pre-read it and then almost like put it into dot point form. And then you kind of speak about those dot points so that you're not just reading off a bit of page or a bit of paper when you've got your client in front of you or down the other end of a video call. But it is scripted word for word to educate you, to install that information into you. And the pre-induction really is about creating some conscious beliefs and some conscious solutions for your client. So it's almost like a bit of a coaching, mini coaching sort of part of the program. You then go into the convincer strategy. That's the next part of the script. And that's where you get people to scale on a scale of 1 to 10. How big of a problem is it for them? Where would they like to be at the end of the session? Where would they like to be 30 days from now, 7 days from now? And so you're creating these evidence procedures for your client. And there's a personal responsibility, and that's to reinforce that they are responsible for the changes that are going on and helping them to recognize that power of responsibility within themselves. And that is typically tailored to the specific treatment that the script is written about. And then there's the induction deepening. Now, that's actually not included in the scripts. It's just a place marker. So it just says, insert your favorite induction here, insert your favorite deepener here. And so it really does allow you to go and grab another induction or another deepener that you prefer, or maybe one you've created yourself, and insert it at that point. So you'll find that the induction and deepener aren't actually scripted as such. However, in the pack of scripts that we give our clients and students access to, there are a number of inductions that are available. Then the next part within the script is the future goal setting. And so now please understand that at this point, from number 5, that creates the hypnotic trance. So everything from this point on is now under hypnosis. Everything prior to that is the pre-induction stage. Even though that is called pre-induction, these are prior to the hypnosis, prior to the hypnosis. Step 5 is where the hypnosis starts. And so there's some future goal setting. So we set a goal at an unconscious level through this part. Then we open up the metaphors. And this is following Dr. Milton Erickson's approach to metaphors, where you start the stories or the metaphors, but you don't end them. You kind of open them up. And so you open up the metaphors, and there's typically, in most cases, there's 3 that are kind of layered together. And then in the middle there, in between the metaphors, it'll then say insert end result imagery. Now that can't be scripted, because when you do this with your client, it actually comes from what your client responds to. So there's no way to actually script that. Now, look, you probably create a generic end result imagery, but it would not be anywhere near as powerful as a end result imagery that you create with a client in that session. So you'll find in the script, it'll just be a place marker. And then the direct suggestions. So there's 2 approaches to this. One is there will be some scripted direct suggestions, but if you have also gained some suggestions or some hypnotic suggestions through the feedback with your client, then that's where you can add your own as well. But there'll probably be maybe a dozen or so that are scripted in the script, that are written in the script. And then you start closing the metaphors. So I think there's like bookending. So we have the open metaphors here, and then we have the closed metaphors. And so wedged in between that, or bookended between that, is the end result imagery and the direct suggestions. And you'll close those metaphors. Not all metaphors have a close. Some metaphors will open, but they will actually close within that metaphor. So again, this is not a rule, it's a guide. So it's not a hard and fast rule. This is a guide. You'll notice that over the years, after creating so many different scripts, we don't want to be completely cookie cut. We don't want to every script be exactly the same. So there's some variation within that. It's just so you can understand that there is a bit of play that you can bring into it around maybe challenging some of these rules and just consider them as guides. And then there's the post-hypnotic suggestions, and there's typically a few in there that will be listed in each of the scripts. Now, not every script has the post-hypnotic suggestions, but most of them do. And that's just when you give people a suggestion that after the hypnotic transformation or after the hypnosis session, that those suggestions are going to have a further impact. And then you count them out. Now you can see that there's black, green, and red stars here. And so black means basic. So if you're really going to make a very basic script and you're like, hang on, Shane, this is too much for me, go, okay, all I need to do is learn my pre-induction, learn the deepeners, or find a deepener, do the end result imagery, do the direct suggestions, and count them out. That is really basic. So it's getting your head around that first of all. Going, okay, yep, okay, Shane, I'm okay with that. Give me the next level. Okay, next level is the intermediate. And so you do pre-induction, deepener, and induction. You then do open the metaphors. You then do end result imagery, do direct suggestions, and close the metaphors, and then count them out. Okay, well, if you're comfortable with that, then maybe try the next level, which is, okay, now do advanced, which is all of it. So pre-induction, convince a strategy, personal responsibility, induction and deepener, future goal setting, metaphors, end result imagery, direct suggestions, metaphor or close, post-hypnotic suggestions, and then count out. And that really is how you start to prioritize and build up your competency and your confidence in using these hypnosis scripts. So that's what the front page will look like. We're going to break down each of the steps now. The pre-induction, as I said earlier, it's a conscious learning aspect of the script, but make sure you proofread it before using. Make sure you proofread it. Over the years, we've found a few sort of, spelling mistakes in some of them. So look, don't think that they're not 100% perfect. But what they do is they will educate you very quickly in that particular treatment. So depression, in this example here, it will educate you very quickly in understanding some of the cutting edge aspects of depression, what causes it, what some solutions they can consider without obviously looking at surgery or chemicals or medicine, that sort of thing. So more alternative health focused solutions they can consider. And so a tip here is to summarize a script into bullet points so you can deliver this in a more conversational way. Then we move on to the next part, which is the convincer strategy. And so as you can see, there's a little bit of an example here. So it's similar to the third step in the 8-step methodology. If you've been trained in that, the Krasner approach, it covers the end of the session. So this is the time frame that covers. So you set a convincer or a evidence procedure, so how they want their life to be and how they know that they've achieved that by the end of the session, 7 days after the session, and then 30 days after the session, which is not included in the 8 steps. So in the 8-step methodology, we only talk about at the end of the session. So this takes it a little bit further. Again, why it's a bit more advanced than the 8-step methodology. And so just remember also that these scripts are used by hypnotherapists who have not been trained in the 8-step methodology. It's only just one approach to hypnosis out of maybe hundreds. And so this is why this part of the script is included, and why there's sometimes a bit of confusion. People are like, hang on, but I've been trained to do that in the 8th step, and now when I try to use the script, it's in there as well. That's why. It caters, they were created for 2 separate audiences. Now, what that means is if you've been trained in the 8th step and you want to use the scripts, just know that there's a bit of overlap, which will make sense as we go through the rest of this video. Then you got the personal responsibility section. And so this helps to reinforce the client is ready to take on personal responsibility for their outcome. And it quickly assesses their emotional needs that the problems provide them. So it's kind of looking at, okay, what 6 human needs or what emotional drivers are being met by this problem. And again, you might want to summarize the script into bullet points so you can deliver this in a more conversational way. So it's not just having to read off a script. Then there's the induction and deepener. As I said, this is a place marker. You get to go and find your own induction scripts or your deepener. If you've got access to our pack of 40 scripts, you'll notice I think it's about 7 or 8 deepeners and inductions that you can kind of pick and choose and insert and mix and match and go from there. So you can create some really powerful and interesting variations. And as I said, they can be separated and replaced with any other deepener that you choose. Then you move into the future goal setting. Now, again, let's go back one more. At this point, they will be under hypnosis. That's what an induction does. It induces hypnosis. The deepener takes them further into hypnosis. So now they're under hypnosis. So then there's a future goal setting. And this is used to help your client whilst under hypnosis to allow their unconscious mind to explore and set some future goals. Not just consciously, we did that previously, now let's do it unconsciously. And so you're setting a goal for 12 months from now and also 3 years from now. Again, that is something that we don't typically do in the 8-step methodology. So again, a little bit more advanced in doing it this way. And we open up the metaphors, and that's because advanced metaphors have an opening and a closing, and they can be separated by other metaphors or other steps. And an open metaphor that is not yet closed, and the purpose of this is it actually holds the attention of the listener unconsciously as they want to hear how it ends. And as I said also before, is that not all metaphors are split into open and close. So there's actually some, in fact, I think in the depression script, there is a metaphor that opens and closes in itself. So it's not actually designed, really, it's not designed as an open and closed metaphor. It's just designed as a metaphor, but it doesn't need a closing, is all contained within the way it's written. Then you have the end result imagery. So this typically happens between the metaphors. So you've opened up the metaphors, you haven't finished the stories, and then you go into the end result imagery. Again, this is a place marker for where to add the customized end result imagery that you've elicited from your client throughout prior to the induction. So hopefully you've had a conversation, how will your life improve when you've overcome this, and they're going to tell you a lot of stuff about that. And so eliciting the end result imagery is not included in this script, but it is in step 3 of the 8-step methodology. Again, they were created for separate purposes. Now we're just helping you use both in conjunction. So there's a little bit of overlap and a little bit of, one has something and one doesn't have the other in this case. Direct suggestions. So these are a list of treatment-specific hypnotic suggestions that you can offer to your client. Now, you do not have to deliver all of these. These are just examples. Again, it's not a rule, it's a guide. And so my tip for you is proofread and prioritize the suggestion you think will help your client the most and which ones you can skip if you run out of time. What I would typically do is I go through and I would star the ones that are most important. And then I just put like maybe a circle next to the ones that I think they're probably the least important. And so if I'm running out of time, I'm kind of watching my time, and maybe we got into a really deep conversation earlier, and so we kind of used up some of the time, I will leave out some of those less important suggestions. So just make sure that you are managing your time as well, and you know what you can prioritize and what you can't. Again, that is why you want to proofread. You want to know these scripts before you deliver them to a client. And then you start closing the metaphors. So this is where the metaphors are closed, and they're wrapped up. You kind of finish the stories. And as I said, there is an example of the metaphor 3 in the depression that is a bridge from the past, which doesn't actually have a close to it. And then you have post-hypnotic suggestions. So this creates the link between some situations and experiences and more positive experiences. So as an example, you might say, with every day that passes, you now forget to think about the negative thoughts and the feelings. Probably a better example would be anytime you start to think about challenges that you need to face, you will also instantly find creative ways to find the perfection in that moment. So you see, it's a post-hypnotic suggestion. It's saying, well, anytime this happens, then this will happen instead. Another one, anytime you think about failures or negative outcomes, you'll automatically start remembering 3 or more things, as an example, as a missing word, 3 or more things that you are grateful for. And this new focus will help you become calmer, more resourceful, and feeling in control. So what happens is you have a cause and effect, which is when X happens, then Y will happen. Or you can have a complex equivalence, which is anytime X happens, that means this will happen as well. So that is just ways to use hypnotic language. Then you have the count out, which is basically a standard way of counting someone back out and reassociating them with their senses. And so that is each of the ingredients of the anatomy of an advanced script. So again, if you want to go basic, you've got pre-induction, induction, end result imagery, direct suggestions, a count out. You want to go intermediate, well, so you put the metaphors in, the open and close, plus the basic. You've got an intermediate version of a script or a hypnosis session. And you got the most advanced, which is doing it all. Now, there's a few common mistakes, and that is that people not proofreading or not pre-reading the script before using with the client. Always do this. Make sure you know the script very well. That helps boost your confidence. The next mistake is not adjusting or omitting sections of the script to improve the delivery to your client. Now, customize it for your client. Again, it is a guide, not a rule. So you will know your client better than I will. I don't know your client. I have written this script for thousands of clients. So it's written in a very generic way. You want to actually understand, will this work for my client? Do I need to customize it? Do I need to change something? They said they love tigers. Do I need to find a way to put a tiger in there somewhere? So, feel free to build upon this and customize it. You do not have to follow this word for word. Feel free that you can customize it to make sure that you're doing it from a place that you believe this is going to make a better experience for your client. The next one is that thinking that every section of the script must be delivered to the client. So again, ensure that it's relevant to your client. Maybe there's something that we've written that you're like, hang on, that's not relevant for my client. So skip it, rule it out, get rid of it. Again, this is a guide. You want to take this guide and recreate it for all of your clients. Your client should actually be delivered a customized hypnotherapy session built upon maybe the template that we've given you, the script that we've given you. So don't feel like you have to force yourself to follow every single section. Now, thinking that reading a script is a substitute for competency and confidence in delivery of hypnotherapy is another mistake. Scripts don't make you confident. They help you build your confidence. You already need to be confident in what you're about to do before you have a client. So I would encourage you, read the script 3 or 4 times out aloud to someone else as a trial run before you deliver it to your client for the first time. Now, not in your head, but out aloud. Get into the habit of delivering it verbally and get a feel for how it flows, and maybe even time it and see, is your delivery too fast? Is it too slow? What sections do you need to cut out? What sections do you need to include? Maybe it's not big enough for you. I don't know. Maybe you speak really fast and that's your approach to it. So make sure that you are reviewing it and not just expecting that the script will make you confident. The script will not make you confident. It will help you build confidence, but you need a level of confidence to begin with, to build upon. Okay, the next mistake is that thinking that you can't add your own flair to the script based on what you know about your clients. Well, you absolutely can. So like I said, customize it. Another one is not remembering that the scripts are designed for hypnotherapists worldwide. So again, this is a one size fits all, but it doesn't always fit all. And that's the downside of a pre-created script or a templated script, is that there are some people it's just not going to work for. But it is designed, and it has been shown over a decade now, that it works for the majority of people. But that doesn't necessarily mean the minority. So again, that's why the bridge between the script being effective and your client getting the transformation is you. You need to make sure that the script is appropriate and is going to be relevant to your client, because I can't be that person for you. I cannot be that qualification for you because I don't know your client. So let's kind of look at how does the 8-step methodology kind of mix in with the scripts. So here's the anatomy of the scripts, and here's the 8-step assessment checklist, which is all 8 steps. You can see step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, 7, 8, all there. And so you do the pre-induction, that happens before step 1. You then do step 1, what hypnosis isn't, what it is. You then go into the convincer strategy, which is also part of the end result imagery. Step 3, convincer strategy is in there. So evidence procedure, different word for convincer strategy. It's kind of in there, but there's a little bit more in the convincer strategy than there was in this one. So there's kind of this overlap at that point. The 8-step methodology does something that the script doesn't, and the script does something that the 8-step methodology doesn't. So if you blend the two, so blend convincer strategy and personal responsibility with step 3, you've got a really robust step 3, essentially. You then take them into hypnosis. So you got the hypnotic induction, and there's a deepener in there as well. And then you go into the convincers, and then you've got the tailored therapy. So this is where bulk of the script comes in. As you can see, all the arrows pointing to that. So you got end result imagery, suggestions. So you got your future goals setting, you open your metaphors, end result imagery, direct suggestions, close the metaphor, post hypnotic suggestions, and then you're into step 8 to count them out. So that's kind of how the two kind of blend together or merge together. To make it even easier for you, what I've done is listed all of the 17 steps together and color code them as well, so you can kind of get a feel for it. So if it's blue, it comes from the 8-step methodology. If it's red, it comes from the script. If it's black, there's crossover. And so if you're going to do all of it and you want to have the most advanced, powerful, life-changing hypnosis session, then this is the 17 steps that you would go through. So step 1, what hypnosis isn't, what hypnosis is, then do the pre-induction talk. And so then you're into step 4, which is the script, or step 8, the convincer strategy. So the evidence procedure. You're then going into personal responsibility, and result imagery, and hypnotic suggestions, then suggestibility tests from step 4, then step 5 in the script, the induction and deepener. At this point, they're under hypnosis. You then do step 6, the convincers. You then, from the script, goal, future goal setting, from the script, metaphors opening, from the script and step 7, and result imagery, from the script and step 7, direct suggestions, and then from the script, metaphor close, from the script, post-hypnotic suggestions, and script, and the step 8, you count them out. And that is how both of them truly do blend together. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you took away from this video. Comment below, let me know what stood out to you. And I look forward to sharing more information with you very soon. Take care.